Hello and welcome to this Screenwriting with Final Draft course. In this course we're going to talk about how to write a screenplay with Final Draft. Now before we get into the Final Draft part, I just want to talk about screenwriting in general. Because a lot of people don't know what screenplays are. I mean, you watch movies and you see the credits and you see screenplay by this person. And nobody really pays attention to that. They just care about the director or the actors. But the screenwriter, no, they don't get any attention. And it's a shame because the screenwriter is the most important person of a film, I think, because they are writing the blueprint that makes up the entire film. They're writing the scenes, the dialogue, they're writing everything. And if you don't have a screenplay that's properly written, then you're not going to have a very good film. And some people forget that. A lot of amateur filmmakers, they just want to make a film, but they forget that you have to write a script first. You know, if you don't have a script, then you don't know what you're filming. You're just going to go out somewhere with a camera and start pointing it at things, not knowing what you're making. But if you have a screenplay, it'll tell you what you're making. It'll tell you the scenes that you're going to be directing. It'll tell you the actors and what they're going to say, or it'll tell you the character names and the dialogue that the characters will be saying to each other. You know, it'll have it all written out, so you don't have to figure that stuff out when you're actually on the set. You know, that would be a real pain. You know, to just go out to some location and have the actors improvise everything. It wouldn't be a very good film. That's why a screenplay is so important to any film. And a lot of amateur filmmakers, they just don't know how to go about starting a screenplay. They don't know how to write one because it's not taught in too many places. Let's just say, I mean, there's courses in film school for sure, but not everybody can afford to go to an art school or some specialized school that teaches screenwriting. It's just, they're hard to find if you don't live in a big city, and even if you do, you have to pay a lot of money to go to college. But, you know, a lot of people out there who have ideas for films, you know, they can't afford to go to college, but they still want to get it on paper. And that's why, you know, taking this course is much cheaper than going to college, and you can learn how to write a screenplay on your own just from taking this course, and hopefully at the end you'll have the courage to actually go start writing that screenplay. And what I'm going to focus on is writing it with Final Draft. Now, Final Draft, you know, I'll get into this in another video, but I just want to briefly go over what Final Draft is. It's a screenwriting software that helps you organize your screenplay. It sets the margins, it spaces it and formats it correctly, so all you have to do is worry about typing the actual movie. You don't have to worry about any of that other formatting stuff. But we'll get into that in another video. In this video, I just want to show you a screenplay that I wrote. It's a short script. It's like for an animated dark comedy called The King of Helltown. This is a script I wrote years ago for a client who he was actually a student at film school, and he wanted just a short dark comedy. You know, I believe he was going to animate it too. It was going to be an animated dark comedy, and this is the script, The King of Helltown, written by Russell Lee. That's me. That's the title page. You know, every screenplay has a title page like this. Very simple. And okay, first page, fade in. You know, every screenplay starts with a fade in, and then, you know, I'm going to explain in more detail as we go on, you know, what all this means. You know, this is a slug line. I'm going to explain that later on. You know, this is the scene. It describes the scene. These are the characters and what they're saying. But again, this is just the introductory video. I'm going to go into this a lot more down as you keep going on. But I just want to show you what a screenplay looks like. You know, look at this, just to familiarize yourself with what it's going to look like, what it is you will be doing when you write a screenplay, how your screenplay will look. Obviously won't look exactly like this. There's a lot of dialogue in certain places, like here. This page is mostly dialogue. But, you get the idea. You got scenes, you got dialogue, and that's really what screenplays are filled with, scenes and dialogue. Yeah, there's certain commands and transitional words you have to use sometimes to indicate what's actually happening. Like fade in, that's a transitional word. Let's see if we go down here. We have things like this. It describes what the person's doing while they're saying this, yells help. So it's saying that this character is yelling when they're saying help. If I didn't have yells here, it would just be help. The character would just say help without yelling it. But, I'll explain this later on. I just want to show you, give you an idea of how this all works. Alright, this is a screenplay. Alright, I think you get the point. I'll scroll to the end. And, fade out, that's the last thing you put in a screenplay, and the end. Pretty self-explanatory on that. This is a 25-page screenplay, which is basically a short movie. Full-length movies are between 90 and 120 pages, usually, which come out to about a 2-hour film. This would come out to about a 25-minute film. Alright, so you get the idea. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how to write a log line, which is basically a short summary of what the film is about.